I'm saying? Thanks be to God who can grant us life through our Lord Jesus Christ, you know what I'm saying? Alright, off the bat, Indiana Jones. I like to think when I first got introduced into this whole thing, it was like, I think I was in middle school or high school, and you know, the whole bull whip, the fucking little cowboy hat and shit. I thought it was just like some regular cowboy shit. And no disrespect to that, because you know, I think it's called Bonanza or some shit like that. You know what I mean? I've seen Cowboy and the Aliens, and you know, but Bonanza, like, I know my auntie, she used to watch that shit. I know my grandma, she fuck with that shit too, and like other westerns and shit. So like I fuck with that type of shit or whatever. But I just thought, you know, like just Indiana Jones, like that's just some hype shit that they into. And also, recently I've been thinking like maybe it was off of How I Met Your Mother. That's probably how I got introduced to Indiana Jones. Cause I know like they had a few episodes where they, you know what I'm saying, chime in on about the whole situation. Like I remember about the whole Holy Grail thing. Like this was years ago. This is like 2000, maybe 13 or some shit, or 12 or some shit, 14 or some shit like that. And, you know, they had the little episode where, you know, they was talking about that or whatnot. And I just remember the whole little phrase about it, you chose poorly and all that shit, like that shit had me. But anyway though, off that shit, that's a funny little TV show and all that. But yeah, fucking around with Amazon Prime, I go in and I don't know what I was looking for, but I ran across Indiana Jones. And, you know, they got a list. I'm like, damn, it's like 4 of these bitches out. So I'm running through them, and I seen the first 3. They was like, I think they was like in the 80s. And the latest one was from like 2008. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go check this one first. You know what I mean? Boom, boom. So I'm checking it out and all that. And they got your boy. I think that's homie that played Even Stevens in that one film, Hoes and shit, or whatever, like that Disney little film and shit or whatnot. When it was like, I think it was like something like I think it was like juveniles and shit. You know, they had like the little shit for the, you know what I mean, or whatnot and all that. So and all that shit. But he was in the film too. Your boy, I forgot his name though. I forgot his like his little government name and shit. But he was in the film, the little Indiana Jones film and shit. So they rocking out, and I'm peeping out like, dog, this shit is based on earlier times, because I'm checking out the film and they riding a little old. So at first I'm thinking this motherfucker's got some oldies and shit. Until I realized, like, no, everybody oldies and shit. Like, I'm like, no, so this is based on earlier times. I'm checking everything out. I'm thinking, like, the way they had the shit directed and, you know, the type of effect that they probably put over the shit when they edited everything and shit like that, because the way it was looking, I'm like, oh, no, that shit really based on earlier times. I think it was, like, in the 50s on that film, the one from 2008. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Just watching that really, like, got me into like, dog. Yeah, and the whole thing about it, like, dude, like the main character, the Indiana Jones character, like the nigga like an archaeologist or some shit like that. So the shit is like adventurous. Like it's like, oh, so this bitch hitting. So as I didn't fuck with that film and I hadn't went back to the ones that was earlier than that. One of the ones that was like in the 80s, and I'm checking it. I'm like, okay, I'm bouncing with this. So it's like, damn. This shit really hitting, like this Indiana Jones shit tough. And then I found out like they got another one coming out this year. Like I just checked that up a couple of days ago. That bitch coming out, I think in sometime this summer. I think it's like June, I think. I'm like, yo, these bitches then came out with it. I just then got into it, and these bitches about to come back with it. Cause I was just thinking like, boy, if they brought this bitch out and nigga, this shit'll be raw. But you know how now they still be, you know, but that bitch might be fire. I checked out the little trailer. It look cool or whatever and shit like that. But yeah. And speaking of archaeologists, dog, fucking Jackie Chan. I'm on that bitch looking for like for some anime on Amazon. I'm trying to find like a little anime I ain't never seen before, like some cool shit, like some, you know, some tight shit. So I run across shit. I see this shit. That's Jackie Chan Adventures. I'm like, boy, like nigga used to watch this shit. You know what I'm saying? Back in the gap, like nigga used to watch this shit. So I'm like, man, let me peep this shit out. Dog, that shit so motherfucking fun. Like on the first episode, the little uncle on that bitch cutting up that bitch. Like one more thing. Like say that shit so motherfucking funny, dog. Like one episode, that boy was in that bitch cutting up. People just running shit to Toru, one of the characters on there, like, bro, like, he a Japanese and shit, like, you know, Jackie Chan, they Asian and whatnot, and Chinese and shit like this shit. So, you know, bro, like a big guy, like sumo type shit, like he like a, you know what I'm saying? So, Uncle was running some shit, like, yeah, saying some shit. I mean, he was saying like one more thing, and he was telling bro like some shit. He could take a bath, and he would. So the bitch Toru, he looked like, bitch, like, you know what I'm saying. So kept running more shit, running more shit. That bitch Toru got so that bitch say no more things. That bitch snatched Uncle ass up. That bitch was like, that bitch was like, oh, you disrespect Sensei. That shit had that nigga rolling. I can't remember if he said sensei or uncle, but I think he said sensei. You know what I'm saying? You disrespect your sensei. That nigga looking like, boy, nigga about to bust you up in this bitch. Nigga grabbing me, snatching me up. You tripping. That shit was funny. But at the same time, too, though, what was so hyped about that, like the bitch Jackie Chan and that little animation, that little cartoon, had this bitch an archaeologist, too. And it was tough, though, because it was like, but like, in this other movie, this other film I had then saw called Kung Fu, what's it called, Kung Fu Yoga or some shit like that. Like that bitch was like, you know what I'm saying, speaking about Indiana Jones, and that bitch was talking about like he fucked with Indiana Jones and shit. And in that film, he was an archaeologist too. So I'm like, but this bitch, Jackie Chan really fucked with Indiana Jones and shit. I'm like, this shit crazy. But yeah, that whole little cartoon was tough. Like the motherfuckers who wrote for like his niece, Jade. Like, bro, them bitches was popping a pin in that bitch. Oh, the shit so motherfucking funny, bro. That shit be cutting up. And one of the characters in that bitch, like one of the villains or whatnot, it was one episode, bro, had, you know what I'm saying, they had them pulled up on, and at the same spot or some shit like this, yeah. And then Jackie Chan niece pulled up, and like, dude was like, nigga, here I was thinking like you just was an irresponsible ass uncle or some shit like, bitch, you just don't give a fuck about what your niece do. But like, nah, she just bad as fuck. She just always trying to get into shit like nigga, oh shit, it ain't you as that shit was crazy as fuck. That TV show funny as a motherfucker, dog. But overall, that motherfucking Black Knight, nigga, this nigga Martin Lawrence, dog, man. Dog, they could make a part two because the way it ended, they could like come through and like do some other shit with that. They could, that'd be dope. But like, man, that film, no, they went that bitch was cause he thinking like, cause like, you know what I'm saying, he was working at the little gig and it was like, you know, some little fucking park or whatnot. And it was like, you know what I'm saying, based on like the earlier times, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, the medieval type shit where they had the castles and the knights and all that shit right there. Anyway, so this boy thinking like the spot that he thinking this the spot that it was like some competitor. I think they was building this shit like right next to them or some shit. But anyway, the shit was called Castle World or whatever. So he thinking he had Castle World and shit. This bitch in a coma asleep because he done jumped inside the little pond or whatever trying to grab the little medallion or whatever. So it was a little episode, this little scene where they was going to like the beheading and shit. So he like, oh shit, like they bitches really rocking out like they. So they had to chop homie head off. That bitch was like, how do they make it look so real? That bitch picked the head up and that bitch said, like, cause it is real and shit like that. And that bitch fainted. So he get to the room and shit. They I don't know. They had them pull that bitch up to the room, some room or whatnot. And the chick had came in, and he had them fuck around and asked her the date or some shit like that. And she had said like whatever the date was. I guess it was like, well, I forgot what the date she said was, but you know. And that bitch started flipping out, and she was like, the date frightened you? He was like, you think it don't when it does? Man, that shit was so motherfucking funny. So I guess she hadn't peeped out that he had like that little necklace that he hadn't found in the pond. The reason why this bitch all in a coma and shit or whatever, is like dreaming and shit right now. So she was like, oh, you like the medallion too? He was like, oh yeah, I just don't need to fly with my gift or some shit like this. Yeah. So she went to like I don't know what the fuck they call them bitches, the dress. I don't know what they called them shits back then, but like she went to kind of like button her shit to like to show him like she rocked the shit too, cause it meant something as like some shit about rebellion to like to overthrow the king, because like I guess like the king hadn't ran over through the queen or whatnot, Queen Elizabeth or some shit, and so they was trying to. They had a gang of motherfuckers trying to get her back into, you know what I'm saying, ownership and whatnot, and trying to get her back to running the land. So that bitch, so this bitch marring on that bitch thinking like she trying to cut something. That bitch say, oh, y'all thought I'd make her brother feel welcome. You know what I'm saying? Let's pick your ass. So that bitch would have tried to like take off his pants and shit, like with the jeans and shit. So like he coming off and shit. He's like, grab that leg, or grab that leg. So she on that bitch like, why do you disrobe? That bitch said, I noticed you were coming out of your drawers. She was like, I wanted to show you that I too owe the medallion. Man, that shit was funny as the fuck, dog. I'm like, dog, they really need to cut up with something else with that bitch, dog. And that film, that was tough. But yeah, man, it was something else I was running out about too. I forgot what that was. Damn. But I know that according to Jim, that shit that tough as a motherfucker too. All that shit. But yeah, no. But it's Curb Your Enthusiasm shit. That shit with Larry David. Man, it was tough too, cause like when I bumped into his shit, cause like I hadn't came up with his idea or some shit I'm trying to run. And then when I bumped into his shit, I'm like, dog, like that's, you know what I'm saying? The shit that I had that I'm trying to get, cause like it ain't based on like a true story and shit. Like and the thing that got me about it too is like they ain't writing no scripts for that shit. That shit all off the bat. Probably not all of it, but you know what I'm saying? From what they saying, like that shit just off the bat. Like it ain't no scripts. Like they just coming in and just like running their thing. You know, he got like a lot of other celebrities in that bitch and shit, and they just running their thing. But I'm like, bro, that shit fire as fuck, and that shit really inspired me to like, dog. Cause like the little shit that I'm trying to run, it's like just based off just, you know what I'm saying, just running. So I'm like, oh shit. But like, man, that Curb Your Enthusiasm shit, that's some funny shit, but that's some heavy shit though, man. Tough shit for real. Like they really did their thing on that bitch. Like fucking Susie being that bitch flipping out. Her character is like, dog, she probably like that in real life. You heard me? She tough as nails. You know what I'm saying? She tough as nails. But yeah, I just had to come and kick you know, another episode. It's been a minute, and I gotta get back at that motherfucking shit off the. I'ma just like, you know what I'm saying, run some shit off of other video. I'ma just put all 3 of the little skits in that bitch. But I don't know, that shit just so fucking funny to me though. I be feeling like, dog, them motherfuckers should have made a film. Like, and if one of the characters on the little skits and shit, for some reason I be thinking it's Juvenile. They be sound like Juvenile. But that shit funny as the fuck. They say, I don't know why you done sold that broad that dream, and you know you don't know them people. That bitch, well, I'ma roll with you, cause you my dog. Well, that's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. That bitch say, this a flyer, man. That bitch talking about something. He thought it say Larry get in free before 1. They say, man, they say ladies get in free. They said, let me see my glasses. Man, they say you don't even know them people. I was like, yeah, them bitches cutting up over here, man, on the fucking little skits and shit. Like, they was tripping out. But that was a fucking great album, though. With them skits made it even, you know what I'm saying, skyrocket. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go get out y'all way. You know what I'm saying? Wasting y'all time with this stupid shit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, the Cool Cast Podcast, and so the Track Slayer. You know what I'm saying? We just trying to run something. That's all it is. We ain't trying to do you nothing. We ain't trying to do you nothing. Crew. Yeah. Look.
My pen and pad is smoking. Catch me laughing.